It's just about calories. Just consume less calories than you burn and you're fine.
Now it's true. If you want to lose weight, you gotta be in a calorie deficit, meaning you have to eat less calories than you burn. You need to consume less energy than you expand. Expand. When you do this, your body gets this extra needed energy from your fat. This way, your fat is burned for fuel. When that happens, you lose fat and consecutively your body weight. But the main problem is keeping a person in a calorie deficit. This is where everything crumbles down. Sustaining your calorie deficit. Getting into calorie deficit is not a problem. Sustaining calorie deficits is a problem. And if there is one thing that is clear from all the research that has been done on this, then that is normal healthy people, normal average people are extremely horrible at counting calories. Normal people just simply don't want to get into this. They don't want to weigh their food. They don't want to count their calories. They don't want to track their macros, and it is just very stressful. And I don't know, for some reason, overweight people just simply don't want to do it. So we have to find a way that doesn't really primarily depend on counting your calories. If some guy doesn't like to count calories, or if he is not very good at counting calories, then we got to find something that works, right? Now, up until now, we weren't talking about the Indian diets. I didn't mention the name of the Indian diets even once, okay, except the intro, okay? And the reason is, whenever I make videos on such topics, there is always that guy who tells me that, bro, it's totally about just calories. You can have your rotis, rice, pav bhaji, chocolate, whatever you want, and it's okay as long as you're tracking calories. Yes, it's okay as long as you're tracking calories. But as you just saw, the main problem there is not that whether or not there are good calories or bad calories. The problem is that people suck at counting calories. Non-nerdy, average, common people who have other things to do, who have a life, find it very hard to keep track of every calorie they eat. Okay, so I just wanted to address that question first and make it very clear that at the end of the day, at the very baseline, it is about calories in, calories out, how many calories you eat, how many calories you burn, but it doesn't end there. Okay, there is so much more to it, and the real things that really produce result, the real things that really matter, lie far beyond just simply keeping track of your calories, counting calories, and all those kinds of things. Okay, and those things actually connect to what kind of diet you should eat, or whether the Indian diet is going to work for you, the normal Indian diet is going to work for you. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about now. Now, there are two things wrong with the Indian diet. The number one is your protein. When anyone in India becomes a nutrition nerd, or a fitness nerd, the first thing he will tell you is Indian diets are extremely horrible at protein content. I mean, extremely horrible. An average person in India gets about 25 to 30 grams of protein at max every day, when in reality, the bare minimum requirement is at the very least, on an average, 75 to 80 grams. But wait a minute, what does this have to do anything with weight loss? It is because protein is the most satiating macronutrient, meaning the more protein you're going to eat, the less hungry you're going to be. The more protein you eat, the less cravings you're going to have. Meaning the more protein you eat, the appetite regulation part that we just discussed a minute ago is going to be extremely awesome. So it's very important that whatever kind of diet you're doing for weight loss isn't deficient in protein, because without protein appetite regulation is very poor, and even the kind of weight loss that happens on a protein deficient diet is just not good. And the second thing here is your rice and roti. Now, I truly don't have anything much against rice and roti. I bash this thing a lot in our diets, but this is very true. Okay, if someone were to pay me to make someone fat, I would give them an Indian diet. Okay, I would tell them that have your main source of calories on the plate as roti or rice, and just get some dal, some sabzi or something like that to pair it with, pair your rotis with all of those things, so that you would be able to eat your rotis. This is what people do in India most of the times. The primary thing on their plate is rotis. Okay, they want to eat rotis, and in order to get those rotis, in order to eat those rotis, we have like small servings of dal, small servings of sabzi, and like chutney and curd and things like that. Okay, the other things, the real nutrient sources, real protein sources are so very small that it regulates your appetite in a really bad way. Because of this processed carbohydrate based diet, if you eat in a calorie deficit on an Indian diet, you're going to be way more hungry, and you're just it would be very hard for you to stay in a calorie deficit for long periods of time. So in summary, if I were to tell you, our diet is pretty comfortable. We are going to get very satisfied following our diet. Okay, if we can just manage to regulate appetite in the right way, we can lose weight on a normal Indian diet. It might not be normal Indian diet, but it can be an Indian diet. So the solution here is to fix those two things. Okay, the number one is your protein. We have to increase the protein content in our diet. Okay, if you want to lose weight in a healthy way and if you want to maintain it, there is just simply no way around protein. And I completely understand that protein is very expensive in our country, and it's pain in the ass to eat enough of it, get enough of it. That is extremely crucial. Without that, I would have to say it's almost impossible to lose weight and maintain it. Okay, and even if you manage to lose weight, it's going to be very unhealthy for your body, and I would just not recommend it. So one thing I will tell you to fix this thing is, and also the other thing, the thing with rice and roti, both of those things have only one simple solution, and that is to start your meal, your plate, to you need to start your meal with protein. Okay, the main thing on your dish, on your plate, has to be your protein. It cannot be your roti, it cannot be your rice, it cannot be dosa or idli and those things. It cannot be processed carbohydrates or fats. Okay, it always needs to be good dense source of protein, like chicken, like any kind of meat or seafood or eggs. If you're a vegetarian, then paneer or tofu, or a bowl of beans. Okay, bowl of beans, bowl of legumes, or mixed dal or something like that. Okay, main source always needs to be nutrient dense and protein dense. That is your food, that is your main food. Okay, you eat that, and if you're hungry after that, then you move on to the next level, is your nutrients. Okay, that is your vegetables, your nuts and seeds, and other kinds of things that has a lot of nutrients. Okay, so your protein first, fill your tummy with that, then vegetables. Now if you're hungry, now if you're not satisfied, now if you want to add a roti or two, or a small serving of rice, or some idli or some dosa or something like that, or a pav or whatever, bread or whatever you want, you add it after you have had your protein and your vegetables. Okay, your protein should be your main thing on the plate, and it's not necessary to have like boiled chicken or egg whites or something like that. Okay, you can cook these proteins in the Indian way. After all, the Indian diet is just not roti, sabzi, dal, rice, chawal, all that kind of stuff. Okay, there is one thing that makes something Indian, and that is the use of masala, the use of spices, the use of oil and tadka and all that kind of stuff. And you can totally do that with the protein. It's not necessary for you to just simply eat boiled beans or sprouts or something like that, boiled vegetables and things like that. There is no need to do that. You can cook it the Indian way. You can use spices, use tadka, use whatever you want, cook it any way you want, okay? But start your meal from protein and nutrients. That those two things are the most important things. Cook them in the Indian way, have them as your main dish, and your side dish should be your roti, rice, grains, whatever you want, okay? So that way your appetite will be regulated in a really awesome way. You will be pretty comfortable doing that because you're kind of eating the same foods, and you'll be also able to lose weight.